Hey y'all, and by y'all I mean no one, because no one's watching this. I don't know why, but I'm really excited to record today's video. As soon as I press record, I was like, oh, wait guys, wait, I actually kind of like being a YouTuber, guys. It's kind of fun. You can call me Merlin. That's not my actual name. I just don't want to get stalked because people are wilding on the internet these days. Anyways, we are all gathered here on this beautiful, fine day that I choose to upload this video, which will probably be in a month.
But imagine how tired we are. Imagine how tired we are of it.
As of recording it is April 19th. I decided that it would be a good idea to do a quick little reading wrap up. Whoa, don't click off, don't click off. I got good things to say. I'm gonna try to do 3 reading wrap ups, 3 for each 4 months perhaps. Is that how math works? Yeah, that's how math works. So I actually read a lot of books, which is kind of crazy because I am well known for being a slow reader. My reading goal for this 2025 year is to read 27 books because I read 24. I can't remember what my reading goal is. You guys are watching dust being kicked from my heels as I'm pounding through these books, whipping up an actual storm. But before that, I'm gonna do some self-promo. If you want to follow my Instagram, my Pinterest, my Goodreads, my TikTok, it's all in my description. Click the links if you want to, and if you don't, then you're racist, which is actually crazy because in Big 25, really guys? If you're not subscribed to Merlin Lol in Big 25, even he's side-eyeing you, okay? That's crazy work. I'm kidding, you don't have to if you don't want to. But if you did, one for us. Anyways, let's go through the books. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this in order of what book I read first, just to give you a bit of an idea. If you want to keep track of me reading my books, you can follow, again, my Instagram and my Goodreads, where I do live updates. Also, guys, do you like my makeup today? I feel, wait, hold on, let me do the full review. Ready? So we got a little pearl sticky thingy, and we got a little gems here that look like an eyebrow piercing, but not really. And we got the lip combo. Hold on. It kind of eats, guys. Wait, it kind of eats.
Damn, it's giving! It's giving!
Guys, I'm really excited about this. There's a while, for like a couple months, where I wasn't really putting on a lot of makeup. Maybe not a couple months, maybe a couple of weeks where I wasn't putting on a lot of makeup. And then I recently discovered that it's actually really fun to put on. So, guys, I'm gonna get back in my makeup bag. Also, I feel like I need to do more makeup YouTube videos because that's originally what I came here to do, and it's fun. But sometimes it just it's a lot of work, you know, to talk and put makeup on. God, my life is so hard. Anyways, back to the books. So the first book I read is Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Black, part of the Good Girls Guide to Murder series. I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. Also, I'm raw dogging this video without a script, so if you can tell, don't tell me in my comments or else I will cry. So this book is about Pip. She is back again investigating another murder. This time it is her friend's brother who died. And this book is so good. One thing I love about the Good Girls Guide to Murder series is that they are thrillers, okay? This book has by Timber Shepard, okay? It's a serious page turner. Every chapter is a cliffhanger, so it makes you want to keep reading it no matter what's going on in your life. I did stay up till 2 a.m. reading these pages because I was enthralled. The girls know that this is a good series. I just feel ashamed that I'm taking so long to read it. Anyways, I have the last book in my holds because they're all library books. Most of these books I read are library books because I don't have money to be spending on all these books, okay? This is my bookshelf. And I also have more books here. Listen, she's looking a little lackluster. But that's okay, because to expect people to buy books all the time is capitalist and unrealistic. I'll say it. Sue me, put me in cuffs, okay? I'll do it. If you're looking for a fun thriller with good charismatic characters, I'd say definitely read Good Girl Bad Blood and the entire Good Girls Guide to Murder series. I lied. The first book that I read this year was Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And if you're not new to this channel, you know that I ride and die for Ali Hazelwood. It's like an Omegaverse kind of book, and if you guys aren't familiar with that, strap the fuck in, okay? You are not ready for this book. Listen, if you are coming for an Ali Hazelwood book, you're not coming for an amazing writing style, because it's not that amazing. All of her characters are very similar, all of her male leads are very similar. She's very well known for writing books where the man falls first. This book is no different. It's cute, it's fun, it's sweet. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I'm pretty sure I did talk about it in another video, and if I did, well, I guess you're gonna have to read it. But it's pretty good, and I rated it 4 stars, and it has a general 4-star rating on Goodreads. This year, I'm also making an effort to try to read more classic literature and trying to like widen my reading perspective, because I do read a lot of romance, and not to say that the romance genre is not good and like stimulating for the brain. I just kind of want to be able to talk about books that a lot of people have read before and understand why they're so popular. So I read Fahrenheit 451, and specifically this book I also read because it's quite politically topical right now with the idea of censorship and assimilation, and also, you know, the 1984 of it all. You know, I am a George Orwell hater to my core, and I will never deny that. However, he did have some points. Ray Bradbury did have some points in 451. What can I say? This book is about a character, and do I remember his name? No, but that's not relevant, okay? He is a firefighter, and firefighters in this story are meant to burn things, and specifically books, instead of put out fires. They have a couple lines in this book talking about, oh, firefighters used to stop fires? Ha ha ha, that's so silly. We would never do that anymore.
Just like my son. I am? That's so silly. I would imagine that.
Now they're fighting things with fire, and specifically they're fighting knowledge and freedom of thought. This whole book contemplates the idea of what makes humans human, and what is so valuable to human thought, and why are humans here? Why are we here talking with each other? What's the point of existing if we aren't able to think for ourselves and have our own experiences and be able to like verbalize that and share that knowledge with other people? Ultimately, I rated this book 3 stars because I thought it was really good. I read it within a day, I think, which is quite speedy for me. It wasn't doing it for me. You know what I mean? Like, there's sometimes a certain book just has like a certain je ne sais quoi, something about it that just makes it a 5-star book. And this book was simply not that. Very much in the sense of 1984. I understand why it was made. I just feel like it was for me. It just wasn't like, it wasn't giving. Like, I don't know how to articulate this in a way that like makes sense to the masses and conveys my thoughts, which is something I suppose I should work on. In February, I was reading a lot, actually. I had this app on my phone called Hoopla, which is just where you can get library books, and they also offer audiobooks. So sometimes if I want to listen to something and turn off my brain a little bit and not think too hard, I'll listen to some really trashy romance books on Hoopla. And the first book that I read this year was indeed Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher from the Dreamland Billionaires book series. This is the second book. I'm not going to read any of the other books because I simply do not care. This book is about a girl. She's black. Love that. She is the assistant to this guy who is a billionaire, and he's the owner of this company that's very much like Disney World, but not quite. It's like Disney World, but like they couldn't get the copyrights, so they call it Dreamland. And this guy is trying to like add another part to the Disney World, and he's trying to make it bigger and expand to Japan or something like that. For some reason, his dad won't let him access the money and all of the power he can have in the company if he doesn't marry someone and have a child. Which, there has to be some sort of law protecting people from doing that. Like, we have to extend our imagination for this. She is the billionaire's secretary slash assistant, and they've been working together for a very long time. They are thick as thieves. She would even consider them to be friends, but he doesn't think so because he's one of those like really alpha annoying guys who's like, they don't understand me. I put a hard shell on myself so that I don't let people get in too close. And it's like, girl, you're like 40. Chill out. Like, at your big age. So if you couldn't tell, I didn't really like him that much, but that's neither here nor there. This book was okay. I rated it 2 stars. The writing wasn't very good. It was like 400 pages. What reason do you have a romance book to be 400 pages of purely nothing happening? And so this is where I potentially can recognize that this book was not for me, and perhaps that is why I'm not going to read it, because what's the point of reading something if you know you're not going to like it? Like, I like to read a good trashy romance, but if it's something that I know I'm not going to like, why would I read it? And don't you dare bring up Twisted Love and Haunting Outline, okay? And don't you dare bring up Icebreaker, okay? Listen, I am a changed, reformed person, okay? And you cannot hold me to my past mistakes. Do you guys hear the sirens? I don't know if my phone's gonna pick that up. I would recommend you read this book if you are a fan of billionaire romances, enemies to lovers, but it's actually not enemies to lovers because there's nothing really substantial about them to be enemies, more so just like friends to lovers, but like they have a minor dislike for each other. I would also recommend this if you like spice, but I'm not a big fan of spice in this book just because it wasn't well written. It certainly wasn't any Allie Hazelwood spice. The next book I read, it was a TikTok romance book, I believe. It's called Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole. And this is the first book in the series. It's about this fantastical kind of fantasy world where they have villains, and this one villain, think of like Grimshaw from Lightlark if you remember him. He's kind of like a dark and like playful villain. Like, yeah, he's a bad guy, and does he kill people? Yes, but he's also a cinnamon roll. A lot of people don't like this book, but may I say, it's quite cute. Did I rate it 3 stars on Goodreads? Yes, because there's nothing outstanding. But it is a very cute and just sweet romance, and I love to say that romance is not really at the forefront of this book. Yes, there's plot, and do I remember the plot? Absolutely not. This is definitely the book you want to read if you want to turn off your brain and just enjoy the vibes. Same with the next one I'm going to talk about. The female main character is super likable. She's really nice, really funny, kind of witty, kind of kind. The twist in the book is kind of good at the end. It took me by surprise and I was not expecting it. And also, you just really grow to love the different characters in this story. Do I remember any of them? No, but that's not the point. That is not the point.
In the spot and I came with the fellas.
Okay, the next book that I read is very similar to Assistant to the Villain. It's called Thrown in the Dark by A.K. Caggiano. And this book is about a girl, now say it with me, I don't remember her name. It's giving very much Lightlark though. They're all very similar kind of books where, spoiler, she runs away from her family because she's a noble and she doesn't like the way that they're governing things, and because she's betrothed to this really evil, awful guy, and she runs away because she wants to be able to get this little thing so that she can cast a spell and then free her kingdom from the shackles of tyranny that the asshole guy that she's engaged to is gonna reign on her kingdom. Are you following? Keep up. So while she runs away, she runs into this darkling kind of guy, and when I say darkling, I mean very similar to the vibes of like Lee Bardugo's Shadow and Bone. And is this confusing? I don't know. So she runs into this guy, and he is of course like a villain, very brooding, very dark, but he's also a good guy. Like, he wants to be evil so bad, but he is truly not. He's simply a sweetie pie and a cutie pie at heart, and as much as he doesn't want to like her, he does. So they just become friends, and then they go through adventures together. You know, he pretends to kidnap her because things happen. I would argue even that the two main characters, the male and the female, do really well as just friends. I think the romance in this is really unnecessary because I think it's fine if they acknowledge that they're attracted to each other in some way, but I think their dynamic is very good as a platonic vibe. And if you read this book, let me know what you think. So my dog came in. Hello, Raven. Okay, we're about halfway through. It's March 18th now that I finished reading Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This book is a imagining of Shakespeare's life before he became this iconic playwright, before when he was just a young lad living his life, tutoring people and living with his family and having a romance with this witchy kind of girl. This book I rated 5 stars on Goodreads. The way I feel about this book, I think I need to, similarly to that of Call Me By Your Name, I need to stew on it a bit longer. It was so beautifully written. And this is a kind of literary fiction where what happens in the story does not really matter. What matters is what these characters make you feel. And I felt such a sense of not longing, but forlornness as I was delving deeper into how William became William, and looking at how his relationship with his dad changed until he became the dad. Because if you didn't know, Hamnet is a story about William Shakespeare's son. His name is Hamlet, which I don't know if that's like an actual thing or if his name was actually Hamlet. I'm not entirely sure. But what I do know is that this story is about how Hamlet dies because, spoiler alert, he does die due to the plague, what they call the pestilence at the time. And if y'all know me, y'all know I love a good book about a plague. What can I say? This book is obviously a tragedy, and what goes on to inspire Shakespeare to write the play Hamlet, which is about their son. I swear to you, the last like 50 pages will have you like in a death grip. This book changed lives, and I think it will change your life. So yeah, I totally rate it 5 stars on Goodreads. It was so good. I'm struggling to put it into words. I totally forgot to mention this absolute nuke of a book, Twisted Love by Anna Huang. I finished it. Boy, do I regret it. I've listened to so many book reviews about this book. I knew what was going to happen in the plot, and I knew I wasn't going to like it, and I finished it anyway. Why? Because I hate leaving things unfinished. If I start something, I want to finish it. Twisted Love is so incredibly unique, yet just like every other bitch.
She looks like every other bitch.
Yeah. And I truly mean that to my core. And you're telling me it's about this millionaire, billionaire type of guy who doesn't know boundaries, who doesn't understand consent, who wants to be with this girl simply because I don't get it. I honestly do not get it. Well, the last 100 pages, 100 or so pages, are absolutely awful to get through. You're telling me he's stalking her for a whole year when she went to a different country to get away from him. He quits his job, stalks her, forces himself into her life, and threatens to murder any man she chooses to associate with just because he's jealous and wants her to love him? Get out of here. The amount of hatred I feel for this novel cannot be put into words, but I did try to do so in this Goodreads review. And the only reason why I do give this 1 star is because Goodreads does not let you rate anything lower than 1 star, and I could choose not to rate it, but where's the fun in that? So those are my as undressed feelings as I could possibly articulate about my feelings of Twisted Love. I hate this book so much, and I strongly side-eye anyone who genuinely likes this story. And I'm surprised that that's a hot take, honestly. So now we're in April. This month now, it is currently April 19th, and I think I'll get a couple books done by then, but I'll just put that in the next reading wrap-up that I do. This first book that I read, I believe, is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. Now this book I have been trying to get through for a couple months now, just because it's kind of hard to get through. It is quite slow, but I did end up rating it 4 stars on Goodreads because I believe this is probably one of my favorite books. This book was inspired by the memoir. I forget who wrote it, but it's called Ghosts Have Warm Hands, which I do want to read as well. I don't know why. I do have like a weird special interest in like the First World War, and not like those insufferable men who are in your history class in grade 11 who talk about the First World War and somehow always seem to get past the fact that trench foot was a thing. We as a society have gotten past the fact that trench foot is a thing a little bit too early. But that's neither here nor there. The reason why I'm so interested in the First World War, I think, is because the way it was able to rally so many countries together while also create such a big divide and kind of set the precedent of what the 19th century was supposed to look like. It's also just interesting to see the progression of technology and why things have ended up the way they are, because that's why you look at history, is to see what brought us here. So The Warm Hands of Ghosts is obviously a World War I novel. So Laura's a combat nurse and Freddie is her brother, and he's a soldier. He's fighting in France at the time at Ypres. Is that how you say it? Because I know people make fun of Canadians for pronouncing it as Ypres, but it's like Ypres. I don't know. Guys, I don't know. Okay, I'm not gonna be that one guy who like pronounces it in that accent. Ypres. Okay. Oh, Ypres. Okay, it's in Belgium. How do you pronounce? Pronounce. Okay.
Ypres.
Ypres. Okay. Ypres.
Ypres.
So they're fighting in Ypres. That doesn't sound right. Google, you're lying to me right now, aren't you? Stay safe right now. During this time, Freddie gets trapped under this structure with a German soldier. Whoa, what's gonna happen? I'm just gonna do a little bit of a spoil kind of thing here because it's just so good. Basically, they get out and they're together and they're gay. I knew it. I clocked it immediately. They spend a lot of time together. They start to kind of rely on each other because of the trauma of being in war, but also trauma of other things that happen while they're together, kind of creating a trauma bond. She was honorably discharged from the military, I believe. So she's back in Nova Scotia because she's from Nova Scotia. She's living with like a surrogate family kind of thing. Because Laura's not there to protect Winter, who's the German soldier, Freddie's like, okay, well, I gotta do what I can. I'm gonna pretend that I'm dead so that Laura will try to come back and try to find me, perhaps, perchance, but then she'll also save Winter because he has to be alive to get Laura the information about what happened to Freddie. Seems convoluted? It's really not. I'm just awful at explaining things. Like, they're all trying to find each other. This book has a bit of supernatural elements. One thing about me is I love ghosts. I love the idea of spirits and how they interact with humans. This book has the idea that spirits kind of guide you throughout the battlefield. They're traumatized, obviously, because war is traumatizing. This is a lovely story. It's so heartwarming and also so tragic. It's this beautiful anti-war novel, and a lot of people don't like it because it kind of drags on. And I will admit, yes, it does drag along. But dear God, is it worth it? Now, did my phone run out of storage while I was recording? Yes. Did I delete a lot of videos and apps from my phone? So my phone is almost not very functional at all? Yes. But we move. Next book we have is Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. This is the second memoir I've ever read, and guys, I think I do like memoirs. And it talks about her life with her mom and the relationship that they have with each other. And even though I'm not a woman, I totally relate to Michelle in a way that feels kind of eerie almost. Not because I feel like we're the same person, but just the idea that having complicated maternal relationships is something that's so common, which is so tragic, honestly. My mom is a beautiful person and I love her to my core. I feel we are just very different people, and so therefore we don't always get along, which is really hard to see, and something that was really hard to read in this book, because you can tell that Michelle truly loves her mom and her mom truly loves her, but they're just such different people, like fundamentally different people, so they're just bound to clash, because they do say opposites attract, but I am a firm believer that opposites attract to an extent, like very much anything else. I think that if you are two very different people and don't agree on a lot of things, then it's very hard to have a functional relationship, especially if you just like the way that you communicate is different. So yeah, I totally relate to Michelle in this book, and unfortunately her mom does die. So every time she goes to H Mart, which is a very common Asian food store in America, I think, she thinks of her mom and the memories that they have together and the fact that they connected through food, and that just brings tears to her because that's, you know, the relationship that they have. I don't know what my H Mart would be with my mom. I'm hoping she doesn't suffer the same fate as Michelle's mom because she does end up dying of cancer. Not only is this a book talking about Michelle's relationship with her mom, it also talks about her relationship to her culture as a Korean woman who is biracial, so she's Korean and white, and how the death of her mom makes her feel like there's kind of a loss of culture there as well, because she's not fluent in Korean. She's not super close with her extended family because they live in Korea. She lives in America, and she's not super close with her dad. There's a bit of a disconnect there. Ultimately, I rated this book 5 stars, and it was so heartfelt, and while I didn't cry, because usually books don't really make me cry, this book made me feel so many things. It was rough. I picked it up at my library because my library has a program where some books just get sold for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why they get sold, but I think it's just because people don't read them a lot. So I was actually able to get my copy of Crying in H Mart from my local library. It's still got the tags on it. Michelle Zauner, I found out, is a musician for the band Japanese Breakfast, and her music is really good. I was kind of surprised. I'm not really a fan of that music genre that she is in, but I really like the band, so that's cool. Like I got a really good story out of this book, and then also a new band to be a fan of. So anyways, I totally recommend this book if you want to read a very heartfelt memoir that's gonna make you tear up a little bit and also make you want to hug your mom a little bit. And it made me view my mom in a different light, which is always good. I think it's always very good to view your parents in different ways because they're people, you know. So the next book I read, which is more of a reread for me, is the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins. If you're not familiar with this, what rock are you living under? But also, it's okay if you haven't, because, you know, different books are popular in different places. This series is what probably shaped my childhood, along with many other book series. It's a dystopian novel about Katniss Everdeen, who volunteers to be in the Hunger Games, which is where the 12 different districts in her country select 2 teenagers, 1 boy, 1 girl, to fight in this big death match where they have to fight the other children, and the last one standing survives, and they bring glory to their district. Now, Katniss volunteered for this because her sister Primrose was selected in the process to play in the games, but Prim is only like 12 or 14, something like that. So Katniss is like, I'm not gonna like make my sister play in these games, I'm gonna do it. So she has the very iconic scene where she volunteers as tribute. And then the 3 books are just her story as she wins the games. Spoiler alert, the book's been out for like over a decade, where she wins the games. And then the second book is where she kind of is re-elected to be in the games again, and then she kind of fights the games. And then the last book is the resistance against the government. This book series, I would not say perfect, but it's very, very close to perfect. It is almost flawless in my opinion. Each book gets progressively worse in my opinion, just because I feel like if you read The Hunger Games, that's where you peak. Like, that is nothing against Susan Collins. So the series is amazing. I just have a newfound appreciation for it because it's so politically topical, similarly to Fahrenheit 451. And I'm just kind of reading all of these dystopian books just because I feel like I need to be more radical in the way I think. So my next radical book in my TBR is The Handmaid's Tale. So I'll let you know how that goes. I currently have it signed out and I have a copy somewhere. Oh, it's here. Here she is. So you know I'm not lying. Here she is. So I will be reading her soon. 5 stars on Goodreads for the first one, 4 stars for the second one. I think I did 4 stars for Mockingjay as well. But it's okay. It's an okay book. I don't care who you are, you should read this book, and if you haven't already, read it. And if you have already, read it again. Do it? I don't know. And then the most recent book I read is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is the prequel to the Hunger Games series that follows Coriolanus Snow and Lucy Gray Baird. Coriolanus Snow is the president of Pan Am, which is the country that the Hunger Games takes place in. So it's kind of like his villain origin story, if you want to say. I would not consider it to be like a villain origin story because like he's an antagonist for sure, but I think the real villain in this story series is just the government, like as a whole, the system of oppression. Like not one person puts that into place, it's all these different players, but he's just kind of like the head of it, I guess. So this book is pretty good. I would say it kind of let me down because I wanted it to be something so much better, but I feel like this book was not necessary because the series alone is so good, and this adds like a backstory to obviously the president of Pan Am, but like this book didn't need to be here. She doesn't even go here. Like, it was okay. Like, so if you're a fan of the series, I recommend reading it because if you read the series like a decade ago when it came out, that's really cool. But I feel like Suzanne Collins could have just like left this series to rest. I say that now. However, am I currently reading the next book, which is about Hamish, called, what is that book called? Sunrise on the Reaping. Yes, I'm currently reading Sunrise on the Reaping. I'm about 20% in. I'm reading the audiobook on Hoopla. Shout out Hoopla, download Hoopla. This is not sponsored, but you should because it's a good way to access books. And then I'm also currently reading Alexis Henderson's Academy of Liars. This is a beefy book. She's about 400 pages. So good. This book needs to be a movie, like immediately. If I ever meet a producer, I'm gonna say, make this into a book, please. Do it promptly because it's really good. It's so interesting. Just the world building and the characters. I already know this book is gonna be like a 4-star for me, like already. But anyways, that's all the books I've read so far. If you've read any of them this year, twin, let me know in the comments, princess, because we're on the same wavelength. Let me know what you thought about these books. Let me know what you thought about the books and how I described them, because I know I didn't do a very good job. That's okay, you can say it. I didn't do a very good job describing these books. You know, it's just a little update, you know? I'm trying to get back into book content because even though it doesn't get a lot of views, it's something that I enjoy. And I think I need to be doing the things that I enjoy on YouTube and not just doing things that I think are gonna get me views. Will I do more video essays similarly to the one that I did of the European witch hunts? Probably, but I just don't have the time. What am I saying? I do have the time now. Before I didn't have the time because I was in school, but now I finished. I just finished my first year for university, so I do have like 4 months to get another video essay out. So hopefully that'll be out soon. Mayhaps my next video. We'll see. We'll see where the wind takes me. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you got all the way through, I am surprised and I commend you because was this a hard watch? Maybe. Maybe my editing will make it better. However, CapCut is pissing me off right now, so maybe the editing won't be amazing, but I'll do my best. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Again, all my social media is linked in the description. Thank you for subscribing if you did, and I will see you guys next time. I will say bye with Academy of Liars. Bye.
Hey, that's my man,